All right, so with our handsome Mr. W, ready, Winston? Hi, handsome boy. I love his little coat, by the way. Looks very dapper on him. So we're going to warm up with a couple lovely little find its with orientation back to me, which is really pretty. Ready, find it. So I wanted to warm up and do a little bit with maybe some pattern games. So I want to work on the up-down game and the ping pong game. But then I also want to work a little bit with this handsome guy with the look at that or watch that exercise as well. So I know for a lot of beauties, when they notice novelty, some novelty can be overwhelming. So getting your babe to on cue, be able to notice something that is non-threatening in the beginning. So like if, let's say, for example, we went right into the look at that or watch that game with something scary, it's going to be probably too overwhelming and he might get lost in the moment. So ready, Winston, come. Yeah, what a good boy. Yes, good job. So what we're going to do for the up-down game, remember too, if you are ever unsure about a certain skill, I'm just, again, also breaking up some of his bigger boy snacks in my pouch so they're smaller crumbs for this handsome man. So for up-down, if you get confused, definitely check out one of the attachments was pattern games. And there are a slew of them. So I have a few of them in that Word document, but there's obviously a few more that you could rock to down the road. So for the up-down game, what you're going to do is, the reason it's called up-down is that you're going to feed the floor, which is the down part. And then the moment Mr. W looks up at me, that would be the up part of the game. So right now he's never played it really yet. So it's confusing if he's never done it yet. So I'm going to go ahead. Ready, Winston? Just do a little name recognition right there. I'm just going to feed him right now. This is just coming when called from his name. So I'm going to try, so you can see him, is I'm going to go ahead and put the food on the floor, and then I want to see if Mr. W looks up at me. Yes. And then I put the food on the floor. So the way this works is yes. Every time Mr. W looks up at my face, I'm going to feed him for that. So I want to wait for those eyes to hit me, and then that's the moment he gets the paycheck. He's also just getting a little bit more oriented to the room. He just came out now to practice. So again, he's been out here out and about, yes, earlier. But we rotate through the babes so they take little breaks and rest periods for naps. And then they take moments to sometimes play, and then other times to play with me versus each other and for potty breaks. So if, let's say, Mr. W is a little bit more distractible, nice, right there for coming and looking at my eyes, yes. So the minute he gives me eyeballs, as opposed to feeding, for example, him directly, I'm feeding the floor. So up, down, since this is newer for him, he's not quite as refined yet, so don't worry. But this could be right there, yes. He's then starting to orient to me, and the moment he locks eyes, yes. I'm building up that looking to me has the value versus being, yes, interested in the environment. So these games, because they stay consistent no matter what the environment, yes, is up to, your babe can start to, yes, hone in on you versus other things that could be problematic, overwhelming, or spooky, yes. So we'll take a little breather from the up-down game, but that one consists of, he's like, no, I'm still working it. So this one consists of every time Mr. W gives me eyes, I would feed the floor. So if, let's say, that's going really well, the next one is what's called the ping pong game. So it's going to look similar to what I call my find its, but it involves creating eye contact and then you toss the food. So the way this one will start up as well is you would feed the floor in front of you, wait for the pup to look up at you, and then when they do, yes, and you can either toss it lightly to one side, yes. And it could get further away as he's doing well. So right here, yes. So it goes from left to right, and you can do again, yes. Sometimes a double whammy where you do, again, the same side twice, and you can rotate. So, but what I'm waiting for Mr. W to do, yes, is when he gives me those eyeballs and he finds my face and locks onto my eyes, yes. That's when I'm marking with the YES, and I toss the foods right here, yes. So this is a great way to build in orientation to you, yes, while also helping him stay more honed in when, let's say, things that are harder for him, yes, may be happening. So building up to distractions in the yard, yes. Building up to maybe going to go step outside, and maybe you go to reach for the door, he gets a little excited, you go into your up-down game and see if that can help him. So sometimes It could be bringing back a skill you'd prefer from a situation where he doesn't know what to do and he might be failing from our perspective. So right here, we're just waiting for those eyes to hit me. Yes, and I toss the food left or right. So again, we're waiting. He's like, oh, maybe he has to go get a drink, and that's completely fine. So you could rotate between your up-down game and your ping pong game. And those ones, again, you're feeding for the orientation back to you and with those eyes hitting you. So I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Of course, I'm running low, so hopefully I don't need a drink mid-talking, which could happen. Hi, handsome. So just for coming into my space, I'm not doing those games right now. We took a little breather, but I'm feeding him for orientation back to me from the environment. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do a little bit with some loose leash walking, and then we'll try a little bit with the look at that or watch that game in just a second. So with our loose leash walking again, you could be, again, capturing him on the left or the right, whichever side you prefer. You could also just get him comfortable with both sides. So just like I did earlier for Miss S, you might want to have your hand be like a visual target for your handsome guy. Yes. So they can, again, start to visually hold this focus on the side of your hip. Eventually you could fade that out and you could just be nicely walking, or you could, oh, good sneezes. So, I'm so sorry. So sneezing is your pup saying, I'm really excited and I really like what's happening. I'm just going to do a find it for fun. He's like, I did not see that one at all. So sneezing, when your puppy's doing that, it means that they're really happy and excited for what's happening around them. But also it could be during play. The sneezing and snuffing that they make is also telling the other dog or person that they're playing with that they're play fighting, not real fighting. So a lot of times those sneezes you'll see, or hear them, I should say, during play moments, when you're wrestling, when you're playing with a tuggy, when you come home. So sometimes you'll hear those snuffs and sneezes because they're really excited about the situation. He's trying to figure out how to go. He's a little bit nervous about the water bowl. He wants some, but he's scared because it's like a giant trough. So he's kind of backing away while also trying to drink from it. He's very cute. Nice job, handsome boy. So we'll do a little bit more with this loose leash walking. Ready with me? And if I lose him, I sometimes might use my little kissy noise to hone Mr. Handsome back on me. Ready? Nice. Oh, such a brilliant boy. Ready? Nice job. So right now he's working on the right side versus the left. If you prefer the left, just lure him back over to your side position. Nice. And you can feed him back on your left side. So ready? Let's go. What a nice job. Oh, good little shake off. So a shake off too, guys, is a great way to relieve tension or frustration or a little bit of anxiety. So it kind of normally tends to be like a rebooting situation. So sometimes it could be he's wearing his sweater, he's wearing his harness, there's funny noises, and he does a little shake off. It could be also that maybe we went and he bumped into you or he bumped into a sibling, then they do a shake off. So it's typically a way to like diffuse or like reset up the situation, or to sometimes say like, I'm not interested, and they're trying to create a little bit of a buffer. Nice. So if like another dog, comes in the space and all of a sudden your dog does a shake off, they're probably trying to diffuse the situation and say like, hey, I'm not really that interested, but like, don't come bug me and don't come harm me. Ready? Nice. So sometimes it can be also a little bit of that diffusing moment. Winston. Yes. So sometimes if he does get a little lost, I use his lovely name recognition and work that little check-in from the environment. Winston, come. Good job, sir. Such a dapper little gentleman. You ready? So maybe he's doing really nicely with some of these skills. I want to try a little bit with the look at that or watch that game. He's like, lady, just hand them all over. I'm just breaking them up for you, sir. So let's say, for example, I know Mr. W sometimes gets really overwhelmed or a little excited, like a trail mix of emotion, like most teenage dogs, when they sometimes see certain things that they find either exciting or flustering or sometimes a little bit spooky. So the look at that game or watch that game is typically, it's called LAT. So look at that. So LAT for short. What I normally recommend though is if you've used like look for giving you eyeballs, like I was doing that earlier with Mr. T. So Tucker was working on eye contact and cueing for it and then getting it. We may find for Mr. W, ready, find it, we're just doing some disengagement and then redirection, is if you've been using look as an up here, I normally call this watch that. So it's up to whatever makes sense to you guys. So I normally call this watch that. So they're looking at something else other than giving me eyes. So I have eyes up here would be look, and then to look at something else, it's watch that. So, but it can be whatever you prefer. So normally you're going to get an item that is benign. I'm just going to see if I have a little bit left of my drink. Teeny bit. Hopefully we'll make it through this video and then I can grab another drink and refill it up. So here is my non-scary or, emotionally driven thing. So if, for example, you're doing this, I wouldn't do it with like your own dog's dog toys. I would do it with an inanimate object that doesn't have any associations that would be either scary or negative. So for example, with this bad boy, you're going to have it behind your back. You're going to go watch that, and then yes to feed. So the moment Mr. W looked at the thing, that's where I would go and say YES. So I'm marking the moment he was gazing at the item, and then feed for that. There are steps that you start off in one level and you build up to the full behavior. So in the beginning, it's popping out and then he notices it. Eventually this item could be placed on an item like a chair or a table, and you then preemptively ask him to look at that thing or watch that thing. So again, watch that, yes. And maybe what I'll try to do is I'm going to bring him over here so you guys can see him a little bit better, so you can see his little face, potentially, hopefully. So I'm going to go, watch that, yes. And again, watch that, yes. So make sure you have a goodie ready. So if your timing is not so great, this can help you. So again, watch that, yes. So right now, the movement of the cone poking out from behind my back, good job, sir, is the reason he's kind of watching it. Eventually, it's going to be plopped out stationary, and then preemptively you're going to say, watch that, and he could look at that thing. If this was something hard, like maybe your dog gets overwhelmed with new people or tractors or whatever it is, I wouldn't go right into like, there's a tractor, watch that, and now your dog just starts barking and lunging. So, but if let's say they could maybe, for example, notice a family member poking in, you could say, watch that, and then feed them for watching a benign thing like a family member. If we always pair some of these skills, like I mentioned in some of my sensitive dog classes, is if every time you did a watch that meant here came the UPS person, your dog is going to start to preemptively get revved and overwhelmed and then not be able to handle it. So you want to start with something benign that doesn't have a negative or scary association. So again, watch that, yes. Yes. So that one, while he was looking away, I actually just had it out and I wanted to see if he would notice the thing. And then for looking at it, I just fed and marked it. So again, we're going to try once more. So watch that. Yes. I'll try again from this side so everybody can see him again. Watch that. Yes. So, but this is where, and I'll maybe give him a little breather, a little find it, so we can take a little rest. We'll take one that's not going to fall apart as I throw it. Ready, find it. So if you're working on the look at that or watch that game, I would recommend to start it off with things that don't have a, again, like I mentioned, a negative association or something spooky. He's like, lady, I found it. You're too smart, sir. Ready, we'll do another little find it. We'll give him a little break from the cone. But I would highly recommend to, when you're practicing this game, is start off easy and attainable. Eventually, this could be then paired with things that he finds a little bit overwhelming, but nothing that throws him off the deep end. I had another student of mine where their dog was normally a little bit flustered by novel new men. So for example, when we were in the advanced class and I hadn't seen this behavior while in classes because in the classroom she felt really comfortable, the dog. So, but then when we went to the advanced class, she was starting to notice, like, of course, working out in the real world where we do the field trips class, there's going to be other new strange people out there. And then that became a little harder for her. So what we did with that beautiful girl is we did the watch that game with benign things, family members, and inanimate objects. So that way we could preemptively, like here came a gentleman down like the hall, we could say, so-and-so, watch that. And then she'd go and look at it and then check in. So for looking at the novel thing that normally would equal, oh no, now that novel thing for looking at it equals here comes something fun or delicious or something she found valuable. So it started to change her emotional feelings towards that thing that originally equaled anxiety, now was the bringer of the good. She would then start to preemptively look for certain things so she could then be fed and have a good moment around those things. Ready? Winston. Oh, he says, I lost. Did you lose one under the chair? That's so sad. So for Mr. W, if we know there's certain things that he finds overwhelming or stressful, I would not instantly, Winston, come, nice, go right into working those moments with the thing. Because remember, we want to practice prior to needing the skills. So almost as if, like, let's say we were going to be going out on stage and we didn't practice our dance moves, you're not going to do well at the dance competition if you have no idea what you're doing. So same thing for your dog, is if he doesn't know what's expected of him, how is he going to perform when things get challenging? Also, remember, just like with us, if we don't feel safe, our ability to function is right out the window. So if he doesn't feel safe or he doesn't feel comfortable, and remember, he deems what he thinks is safe or unsafe. So if he finds certain environments or certain triggers as overwhelming and we're forcing it on him, he may not get better, but actually worse. So we do want to make sure for any of the beauties as they're going through puppyhood into adolescence that you're going to run into normal behavioral changes, but how we deal with them either makes it better or makes it worse in the sense that the dog feels they can cope or not cope. So, but maybe what we'll do, we'll give Mr. W, ready, sir, a little breather from the up-down game, the ping pong, and that lovely look at that or watch that game. And then we'll go into working a few other little skills. Like I want to see if we can work a little bit with our stay, maybe on the dog bed, again, the cot, and see how he's feeling. So, but very nice job for Mr. W. And we'll try a few new skills in just a second again.